I believe Diddy had something to do with it. And I think the dude, Keefy D, was the one who pointed the finger at Diddy. Y'all want to know? Okay, I'll tell you. I did it because Diddy paid me to do it.
I don't hear nobody out there. Hold it down. Hold it down.
So look, I know some of y'all is over here by happenstance. You see the title and you like, ooh, we got action. But what actually is happening over here is that we're reading books. And then I provide my commentary that can sometimes be funny. It can sometimes be serious. Oh, and if you don't know, I am from Washington, D.C., the old D.C., Chocolate City, and I have a somewhat thick D.C. accent, so I do pronounce words with R's in them very funny. We don't read the whole book because, like I always say, I ain't about to get a copyright for none of you. In the comments, my commenters provide their corrections to whatever it is I say, or they give additional commentary on what was said or read in the book. Okay? All right? If you're enjoying yourself, make sure that you give this video a thumbs up. You subscribe. Shut up, Lou. Oh, and I got a dog named Lulu. He snores. Okay? That's not no old man or no old lady in the background snoring. That is my dog, Lulu. Big and I never went on an official honeymoon, but those first few weeks of our marriage were as carefree and fun as a Caribbean vacation. We were in our own world. Even though I was all up under Big, I still had to focus on my own music as well. So by the fall of 1994, it was time for me to start working on my own album. The work I done on both Usher's album and Mary's album was complete. Big's and Craig Mack's albums were in the stores. I was next out of the gate for Bad Boy Records. In October 1994, just 2 months after we got married, we had a huge blow up. Big was about to go on a promotional tour throughout Europe, and we'd hardly spent any time together before he left. He'd been hanging in the studio, in the streets, and God only knows where else. I was pissed off that he hadn't spent any time at home, and now he was leaving for Europe, where he would be for weeks. He had a big duffel bag full of stuff. I got so mad at him, I took his bag and dumped everything in it out the window of our bedroom, which was right over the street gutters. Needless to say, Big was not thrilled. We screamed on each other up until he was about to head for the airport. I stormed out of the apartment before he left. When I came back,
Gotcha, Big.
the love boat. Soon we'll be making another run. The love boat promises something for everyone. Set a course for adventure, your mind on a new romance and love. She came back, that ninja shredded all her clothes. She called Cheryl. Cheryl girl. That's one of the bad boy employees. Cheryl girl, he done cut up all my goddamn clothes, girl. I mean, what you thought? You was just going to be able to do to him and he was just going to be like, okay, no, girl, no. When you live with somebody, you can't do crazy shit like that. But they still young. So it's not like I'm expecting things to be different. You know, because he about that action, she about that action. Big's trip to Europe kicked off a new phase in our relationship. Suddenly, we weren't just running around Brooklyn with C's, Chico, and Nino anymore. He was flying to different cities for shows, and I was spending more and more time in the studio working on my album. 2 months after Big dropped his album, Mary J. Blige released My Life, the album I'd worked on. Y'all put below, what is y'all's favorite Mary J. Blige album? Because I'm going to say, What's the 411, of course. My Life. Is My Life the one with all I really want is to be happy? The one with 7 days on it. Monday, a friend of mine. Tuesday, we played a game. That song that she made with George Benson. Oh my God, incredible. And then I'm going to say the last album that I was totally smitten by that I can remember was Breakthrough. 2 months after Big dropped his album, Mary J. Blige released My Life, the album I'd worked on. The critics gave it very favorable reviews. It was another feather in Puff's cap, and I was pleased that I was able to be a part of it. When the songs I worked on came on the radio, it was a thrill to hear my voice in the background. And seeing my name listed on the song credits had me overjoyed. Just like I'd pored over George Benson's and Rick James' albums, looking at the names of the musicians and the songwriters, someone was scanning Mary J's album and seeing my name listed as one of the people who'd helped bring it together. But before I could really revel in the way things were unfolding, the drama that would follow me for the next 3 years began with a very disturbing phone call from Big. It was November 30th, 1994. I was at our apartment in Brooklyn. Big was at the Quad Recording Studios where he was working with Junior Mafia, and he sounded a little worried. "I'm not coming home until late," he said. "Why? What's wrong?" "My boy Pac just got shot," he said. "I'm going up to Bellevue to check him out," he said. Although I'd never met Tupac, I knew that he and Big were cool. Big had always spoken highly of him, and I knew that although they didn't see each other very often, there was a mutual love and respect. The year 1994 had been a rough one for Tupac. Just a few weeks after Big's first album dropped, Tupac had released his album Thug Life Volume 1. But he was becoming more notorious for his personal legal issues than his music. The year before, he'd been arrested for shooting 2 off-duty police officers. The charges were later dropped. But just 2 months later, he was arrested for actually abusing a woman and beating up a former employee. I don't know if Tupac was diagnosed with anything, because we're still living in an era where people are wild and they don't know why they are so wild. Like in the 90s thing, I really don't remember hearing the word bipolar. What I have heard consistently whenever there is commentary about Tupac is that he became the characters that he wanted to be. So basically, he was acting. And I believe that was his downfall. Like, he wanted to be that hard ninja in Juice. Because that is something else that I heard. That when he did the movie Juice, he wanted to be, I don't know what his name in Juice was, but he wanted to be that character for real. No, it's almost cool to be snakish. Like the dude I told y'all about named Mamba. Oh, that ninja was crazy for real. What is consistent about Tupac is that his angst outshined his music. I know that much has been said about Tupac feeling like Big and Puff were involved in that attack. I can only go by what I knew of Big and Pac's relationship at the time. So I'm going to tell you what I think. I don't think Biggie had anything to do with it. I believe Diddy had something to do with it. And I think the dude, Keefy D, was the one who pointed the finger at Diddy. Y'all want to know? Okay, I'll tell you. I did it because Diddy paid me to do it. That's what I believe. I believe in regards to the music, Biggie was trying to get at Tupac, but not end his life. I mean, I could be wrong. I really don't know. I'm just speculating here. But I don't think that was something that Big was trying to do. I know that much has been said about Tupac feeling like Big and Puff were involved in that attack. I can only go by what I knew and Big and Pac's relationship at that time. Big always spoke very highly of Pac, and I never got the sense that anything was amiss. They weren't close friends necessarily, but I know he respected Tupac as an artist. And he was obviously cool enough with him that he called to tell me he was going to the hospital to see him as soon as he found out what happened. Tupac getting shot at the quad would be the beginning of a lot of misinformation and miscommunication between Tupac and Big. And you know who I believe was at the crux of the misinformation and communication? Diddy. Because Diddy just got his fingers on too many people, or his name or his breath on too many people that are no longer on this earth. I don't know if anything could have been done differently that night. I think Tupac was already living in a fantasy world where his enemies were part of a large conspiracy to hurt him. But if someone could have convinced Tupac that night that Big had nothing to do with him getting shot, so many things may have ended up differently. At the time, I didn't give that stuff much thought. I only knew Tupac from his music and his movies. I had never met him and only knew what the average rap music fan knew about him. He went to jail soon after the attack. The moment Pac was found guilty, a stopwatch began, counting the moments until my life and his would intersect. While Big was crisscrossing the country, I was still hanging out with Mary and Misa, occasionally going to clubs. Being married to Big probably cemented my place in the crew since he was becoming more and more popular. Mary even came by our place in Brooklyn a few times to hang out. I didn't have a song out yet, so I wasn't particularly well known. I could still walk through the hood without being recognized. When Big performed at Howard University's homecoming weekend concert, Misa and I drove down together. Before I went, I bought a few Coogee sweaters for Big and a pair of Timberland boots. I remember the concert was held in a huge venue, something like a converted post office. The show was packed and it was live. We stayed overnight and had a great time. And I'd driven up to Westchester a time or two where Misa had an apartment for her and Justin. We were cool mainly because of the irony that we knew each other before I got into the industry. I enjoyed her company as well, but Puff wasn't exactly thrilled about it.
Hey, do my favorite go-go song. Taking a ride on the east side, made a left on MLK. What a beautiful day, what a beautiful day. Riding high on the west side, looking for a hood rat to play. Won't you come out and play, won't you come out and play. Hey, taking a ride. Hey, hey, on the south side. Ooh, ooh. Hey, hey, hey. We like that good. Say what?